back, Grant.
Thought.
What do you mean?
You're back, Thought.
Who's thought?
Thought in the back of your head?
The thought in the back of my head. I don't have any thoughts in the back of my head. I know exactly who I'm talking to.
Who are you talking to?
You're trying to take a alter ego. Is this what you're trying to do?
An alter ego? What's an alter ego?
An alter ego is someone that you are not, but you pretend to be.
I guess it all depends on how you define what and who you are, Mario. How do you define yourself?
I define myself as the name my mother gave me when I was born, and I've been called that ever since. So now you're trying to change your name to some Thoth of Egyptian god something. What is this? What are you trying to do here? Why? Explain, because you wanted to do a podcast.
Are we supposed to take an edible right now? Are we supposed to?
That's true. We should
do
take
an edible, right?
I'll calm a lot down if I take an edible. It's like I'm already.
All right, hold up. Flash forward. I'm going to do a little genie dance, and then we'll each have an edible in our hand. Oh.
Folks, tune in.
They look like those little ginger squares.
Mmm.
Those ginger squares are good.
Forgot about my drinks right here. Hell yeah. Did you bring any drinks? You didn't
Yeah, I just got a little one. Nothing crazy. But yeah, dude, I'm changing my name to Thought because it's kind of like a pun. Like, I don't really take... Oh, you have liquid in there. I thought it was clear. Oh, I didn't think there was anything in there. You actually have stuff.
You want to go get
Was that straight vodka?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I stir it around with
Flavorless.
my finger because I'm corona free.
I guess that's a thing.
I guess you're that type of crazy. You're that type of crazy that would be willing to change their names just because they got an alter ego.
Well, I think for me, it's like the older I get, the less I define myself. Like I was telling... Dude, I accidentally texted Dell, the security guard.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of having him on because he's such a...
Yeah, we had him on way back when
I can't wrap my head around that guy. I really can't.
Dude, he gets it, dude. He gets it.
What do you mean he gets it?
He sees a bigger part of a picture, but also, yeah, he is into some stuff that I'm like, I appreciate, but I haven't like got into yet, or don't know if I will get into. Like some stuff like, not mysticism, but like mind control or mind influence. You know, like, cause he was very much into, what was it called? Do you know what I'm talking about? When you like mesmerize somebody, or you like put them unconscious and then you tell them to do stuff. You're like tapping into their subconscious.
Or like psychic.
Yeah, kind of like psychic. Well, there's another name for it.
Or telekinesis or.
Nah, someone.
Like MLK ultra shit, you know.
Yeah, but it's like someone, yeah, exactly, who, you know, if they're doing something negative, yeah, they'll, what is the name of that? How come I can't think of it? People are yelling at us right now. There's, when you take someone and you, like, put them under, essentially, and then you make them do stuff. They have a name, like a magician, but it's...
under a spell.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
There's a name for it.
There's a name for it.
Yeah.
What is the name?
He is...
Mind-altering.
Not possessed.
No.
Not
I'm gonna kick myself once I remember this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
so
have
like,
a tip on my tongue too.
Like influencer. The influencer. But yeah, he did, I think, mind control? No, that's not mind control. But it's like that, right?
He has like telekinesis shit. Like he can fucking like perceive certain things. He has like some type of sixth sense.
What's that called when you like body control or mind control? Are you controlling someone else's mind?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and people listening to this probably know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But that's what Del did.
Possession or fucking... Yeah, anyways. So you were talking with him?
I texted him because it was my buddy Michael Del Toro's birthday. And I tried to hit him up, but I guess I don't have his phone number anymore. So like I had a Dell in my phone, and I hit him up, and I texted Dell, and Dell was like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's Grant." And I was like, and then we started texting, blah 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 blah, and then like it just got me back into like his type of energy, his type of like he's a a dynamic, quirky kind of guy. So it was kind of fun, but then also I told him I was changing my name to Thoth. Dynamic.
You use that word all the time.
Dynamic. Yeah, everything's
Dynamic, quirky guy.
dynamic,
That's
dynamic.
like saying something's real. If everything's like that, then you could say something's real. But he is a weird kind of guy. Like, I like
cool.
some of his weirdness, but then when he goes into the whole psychic thing and
oh no, wait, that's not it. I was mind psychic.
mind control.
No, right?
Anyways, he's a real cool character. I don't remember the exact story, but I remember last time we had him on our old podcast, Ordinary World. I'm gonna try to get some footage out and put it on my channel and just be like, hey, here's some extra content that you guys want to check out from way back when.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the thing that happens when you're not doing anything, like at work. You know, when we're at work, we were on work.
Yeah.
We just talk about random ass shit and just things pop up that you're like, wait, what? You believe in what? And he thinks he's what, you know?
Yeah.
And last time I talked to him, he said he was writing a security book.
Yeah. He said he was trying to finish that up. Or
yeah.
He was wanting to do that this summer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Man, that was like 3 years ago, huh?
Yeah, that was like 3 years ago. And it's interesting because I always envision him doing something else, because he said he's worked with some pretty like A class or B class people as security, and he's like trained them and coached them and all this stuff, and I'm like, really? So how's that working out? I don't know. But he's a cool guy. I like him. I like talking to him. I haven't talked to him in a while. He hits me up every now and then.
Really?
And I still haven't gone back to him or anything, because I've been trying to get this whole podcast on its feet. And finally, now I got the main camera fixed. I need to get new replacements for these two, and then I'll be really set. But for now, this is solid, dude.
Yeah, good lighting, good sound.
I mean,
we got video too.
Yeah.
Can't ask for anything better.
Exactly. So like, you kind of need to work with what you got and then put that out and then slowly build it up, because if you're thinking of just going out there and then just be number one. And another issue is that this whole quarantine is still happening. We're literally 3 months into quarantine, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I haven't hit up anybody besides Luis about coming into the podcast, but he was like not about it. He was like, nah, dude, in case I have this stuff, I wouldn't want to spread it to you guys, so once this whole thing dies out, we'll meet up and we'll go back to normal, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, huh?
And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. And I also was like, I'm not 100% back, 100% ready to do all this, even though it looks like it and then sounds like it, and I'm putting shit out. I'm really slow. I've realized this about myself, and I don't need everything perfect, but I need it to work as I thought it would work, and oftentimes it doesn't play out that way once you get to that state where like, okay, let me put everything together. Oh, the mic's not working. The mic's not clear, or the footage gave out and the audio's still going, and all this stuff where I'm like,
yeah,
so
troubleshooting. Troubleshooting's a pain.
Yeah.
It's always like
it really is. But that's the whole part about, if it was easy, everybody would do it, even though everybody is doing it right now. Like, everybody that has a phone or wants to make podcasts or YouTube videos or whatever, they can get started in doing it, you know?
There's different levels to it.
Yeah.
Why, though? Why do so many people want to do it? Why is it such a thing right now?
It makes sense because I don't understand. I mean, when you get inspired by somebody and they're doing something that you find entertaining, it's hard not to want that too, you know? Like Joe Rogan. I listened to Joe Rogan since back when he first started out. And ever since then, I was like, man, it would be so cool if we can get together and talk about different ideas and subjects that would be cool to talk about and share our own opinion, because everybody's so opinionated, because there's so many issues in the world that you think you have them all, you know, like especially at the beginning. But once you get more experience, you start realizing how much you don't know and how much you do need to learn, and then you build that back up. And getting yourself out there is the thing. But why people are doing podcasts more now than ever before is because I don't know. I do believe that everybody should share and should have a podcast because I like hearing the different people's thoughts and opinions and their viewpoint of big issues or whatever. And but not everyone's good at it, you know, like some people just literally like Ricky Gervais just started his own channel on YouTube, but he's doing it off his phone. He's just recording shit straight on his phone, not even good lighting or anything. He's just straight off his phone, and I like him, and I listened to a couple podcasts of him just rambling about shit, but I just gave out after a few because the quality of the video was terrible. The sound was terrible, and he's bullshitting about different things. I like to hear him bounce around ideas with someone else, or, you know, I don't know, just hear be at least the audio better. The video I can work around, but the audio's bad. I'm like on a podcast.
Audio makes a difference, I think, for long play. Like if you, like you said, if you're like looking at a quick like TikTok or something of Ricky Gervais like BSing or whatever. You can watch a couple little short videos on Instagram or TikTok, but to sit there and listen to a 3 hour or even an hour, or even 20 minutes of somebody talking on a terrible video on their phone, that's hard. Yeah, because then like you're hearing birds and you're hearing airplanes and ventilation and microwaves and all this other stuff in the background, where it's like when you got the good equipment and you have an area that you're like dedicating to doing this thing, then it comes out, especially for your ears, better listening. People can sit down and listen to you for a while.
Definitely gotta have good quality audio. If you got shitty audio, like even some people, all he needs is one of those things that I bought you for $20. Those little mic things you buy, you hook up to your phone, straight.
Super easy.
And it
definitely
like
helps.
if you, it would help a lot more if you know post production too. Throw it in Audition and just copy the background noise and then put a filter over that, and then that clears a lot of that noise off, you know. But some people just don't want to sit down and watch a freaking 5-minute YouTube video on how to do that, you know, because that's how I learned it. Like I feel like I learned more on YouTube than I learned my entire life going to school, you know. Because everything I need to know, I can learn it right then and there. Therefore, I'm already prepared to handle that. Rather than school giving me everything at once. Like one day you will deal with math, and these are all the crazy equations you need to know. And then one day you'll deal with biology, and these are all the things. It's like fucking, I haven't even gotten a car yet. You know, like I don't even know. And you guys don't even teach me how to properly buy a car, how to inspect a car, what car insurance is, what loans are, like all the real world problems that we all face and we're not experienced in. The school doesn't teach you those, you know.
Education is changing. It's becoming something new right now, like the fact that we can all go research for ourselves on YouTube, on Google.
Well, education's dying. Like the established education, like schools,
traditional
it's
education.
Changing.
That's what I'm saying. Like as we've got computers, as we get new books, as teachers evolve, like the teachers that are becoming teachers now, they grew up, they're your age, they're my age, they're younger. Like they're people that someone born in the 90s could easily be teaching high school right now. That's crazy. So it's a whole different, like they have a different view on life too. And these are all the people that are going to create the next nation, dude. They're going to go on to create the next set of rules and change the way that we've created all of our rules. Like we keep growing and we keep evolving. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, what do you think is going to happen? As far as education, how is it going to evolve over the next 10 years? Will we just completely go digital? Well, or is the way or the information we're going to teach going to change?
It can't go completely digital. Because complete digital, digitized, is not efficient either. It is efficient when you're trying to get an idea across, but experience is key. Like, if you want to do anything, get out there and start doing it now. You don't
Mm.
have to read any crazy books or not that many books. It's good to read books, but to get yourself out there and start doing it now, that's way better, I think. You learn way more. It's I mean, there's no rule book on how to do anything big and cool, you know? Like,
Mm.
you think there are rule books, someone can write a rule book or a guideline of how to become the next superstar, rock star, or a TikTok video. Like, there's no rules. You see other people
Sorry.
doing them, and you kind of pick up shit off of that, and then you make your own.
Yeah.
And they're amazing. Like, it's almost like the worse you do at it, the better it is.
Mm. It all
I've
depends. I
seen
mean,
some.
it helps to be attractive. Helps to like
Oh
be in
no,
an
well,
area
like,
where it's like being in an area where you're not expecting, like on the cliff of a mountain or something, or out in the ocean. It's like certain videos do get more celeb or get more views because when you're first flashing by a video and it's somewhere that you haven't been, like in a snowy mountainous area, then you're more likely to be like, oh, that's cool. I'll stay and watch and see what happens. And then you see a guy skydiving or something, or some
well,
hottie comes
yeah.
out and shaking their booty. And
I
you're
mean, like, in terms of trends and what's popular out there, yeah. But I've seen some shit where, like, some dude is just chilling in his room, fucking getting, toilet paper rolls and putting it on his fan on every corner, and then like sneaking himself inside as the fans are spinning, and the toilet paper is turning and it's making this warping effect, and he's like, I'm watching this fucking idiot try to sneak underneath it and then
Yeah,
stand
why?
in the center.
Why are you watching that?
Because it's hilarious. That's ridiculous. You know why? Like,
Exactly.
it really doesn't take much. And then another
Mm.
one was some pets, dude. Pets kill it. You know what I mean? Like, you were just pulling out your phone and recording your pet doing something crazy, gets thousands of views, dude. Pets are
That's true.
superstars online, and they don't even know it. They don't even know what the fuck that is. You know?
You know what's crazy too is it's different for every person because even on like TikTok or Instagram, like they create algorithms to figure out what you like. So if you're someone who likes war or someone who likes politics or someone who likes adventure or someone who likes, hot chicks or someone who likes board games, it's like they'll put you into these little categories and they'll start giving you videos that relate to the categories that they already know you like. So
yeah,
that way
those algorithms.
so like that's why you end up seeing, like, if you're like into skateboarding or something, you'll start seeing a bunch of skateboarding videos because they know your algorithm, dude. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Then advertising, then they'll throw.
Some people don't even know what algorithms are, dude. They know that their Instagram, their Facebook, all the social medias use algorithms to judge what you like and what you don't like. But they don't even know what algorithms are, bro. Like, they don't know what the little transistors in your phone are doing. Like, that's what's collecting all your data.
Shit, yeah.
And there's billions.
I mean, do any of us really know? Like, we know that it's a process and that it's like essentially code. Like someone's coding into those inputs of what's going to happen with your data,
dude. It's a language.
So yeah.
You're speaking to the computer to recognize certain categories and lump them together to present their viewers, like you and I or anybody else, what they like. Because when you make a video, you're not even intending it to go viral. It's just something funny that happened. Somebody took a shit in front of something and it flew out into the fan or whatever. That falls under the category of random things. That falls in the category of shit. It falls in the category of random.
Right.
And that algorithm can pick that up by other people that like that shit and spread that. And that goes to show a little more about how well we're being controlled. And I don't mean control as like the Illuminati and all that. I mean that they can totally know what you would be more inclined to click onto than not, you know? So when you go to these other sites that are not tracking you and don't know what kind of shit you do, like DuckDuckGo, Do you know that site? So you know there's Google, right? Biggest fucking search engine in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's DuckDuckGo. And what that is that it doesn't track your movement, doesn't have any cookies. It delivers basically exactly the same thing as Google does. But Google has an algorithm specifically for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the things you research over the years, it can, by a percentage, judge what you're going to search versus Go or DuckDuckGo. I think it's DuckDuckGo. Doesn't have any of that. It literally delivers anything it can get it's himself a hold of, any site that has any semblance to what you just searched. And Google doesn't always do that. Google kind of gives you other reliable, if you're more into Wikipedia.
Which can be a benefit, though, because if you're like looking for specific information, if Google knows what you're kind of looking for, it's kind of like guessing. Like, it's going to give you a better guess. Whereas, like, if you're using DuckDuckGo, then maybe you're able to remain more anonymous, but also it's not going to necessarily give you maybe what you need as quick as you need it. Like, it might give you 8 other searches that have nothing to do with what you're really asking, but if it had the algorithm, because I mean, it's either no matter what, it's using some sort of algorithm to bring up the information, whether it's your keywords themselves, or whether it's your recent search history, or whether it's like what you said, your whole data from what they have seen you input through whatever. Like, I'm sure they got trackers on all our numbers or social security numbers or something. Who knows? Emails. But yeah, who knows how far they can take it? Because you can go into your Google settings and you can reset your cookies and reset your browser history and reset your settings.
Yeah, so they can just record it again.
That's what I'm saying. So either they're recording it in little sections, or they have just always had it, and they like. You don't think there's there's probably a master file that is for everybody that they never erase.
Never erase.
I bet that's in the terms and conditions somewhere.
I'm sure they won't. They would be stupid if they did delete it. Like, in their minds, it's like, okay, we have all this data piled up, and he wants to delete it all. It's like, nah, just put it in the back folder. Yeah, we'll use that in case we do need it. Other than that, just don't worry about it. Just show it that it's been deleted. Because that is the smart move. Because if you want... The thing is that there's some evil people out there. You're not evil. I'm not evil. We don't have any evil intentions. But like that movie we were just watching, and I truly do believe that everyone can be evil if the proper conditions are in place. You will do some evil shit. You don't have any control of yourself sometimes when you're seduced by peer pressure or you yourself would want harm upon your enemy. If they make it out to be that this person did something horrible to you or someone you love, you would be more incontent to do something evil to them. But that there's a middleman there. It's delivering information about the other party, where instead of going straight to the other party, finding out that they actually did this, then you would get the reliable information. So if the middleman is Google, and you're searching for freaking castles from the Knights Templar or something, they will deliver castles that are in your area. Or castles you've liked before. Not all castles that there is on the internet. So, and the other thing is that you wouldn't know. How do you know what you don't know?
Yeah, exactly. How do you know that all the information isn't being filtered already?
Yeah. How do you know you're getting the unfiltered truth?
Yeah. That's the hard part, is like at the end of the day, it's up to you.
Yeah. The thing is that we're not going to stop. Even if it is filtered, and we know it. We're not going to stop. I mean, we've seen in history that if a tyrant goes around destroying the country, destroying the people, and doing everything, the people will not rebel unless they're placed. That's not true. No. Hear me out. Unless they're placed against the fence. Unless there's someone, a hero, that's really... willing to rally the troops to then go up against the evil. The people themselves won't take arms. There has to be one guy that's at the top of the people that leads them into battle.
Why do you
We
think
want
that is?
heroes because, I mean, look at fights on the street. Not a lot of people step in, break off the fight. It's like, hey, you're going to hurt this guy. Stop, you know? People fucking pull out their phones and record. Like, this is crazy. They're fighting. Oh, my God. Nobody stops. Nobody steps in. But when somebody steps in and he gets hurt, other people come in. It's like, hey, man, you can't fucking hurt that guy. It's like, you guys can beef at you guys, but he was trying to stop things. So you can't, like, you know? That's when people step in.
So you feel like most people aren't leaders then?
No.
Most people are followers.
I mean, if most people were leaders, we wouldn't live in the type of world we live in now, where there's more stupid people than ever before. Well, not ever before, but really dumb people that are just not willing to look at logic or look at, like, fucking the Lysol thing. The president said, we're going to shoot a UV light and that's going to cure it, or we're going to do some type of, like, Lysol injection, or... And people called in and asked, you know, like, hospitals, and it's like, hey, is that all right if I inject this? Would that get rid of my coronavirus? It's
so
like, you're
bad.
fucking dumb. No. That's a leader that's going around telling their followers, hey, yeah, just take fucking Lysol into your veins and UV light, you'll be good. And then people are willing to take forth truth from that.
So
Even though
bad.
they're obviously, and I can't believe he went back on TV and said, well, I was joking. You see, I was saying that sarcastically. I'm like, you can't joke around while people are dying, bro. They're literally looking at you for answers. And you're giving out facetious responses to the public. You're supposed to empower the people. You're supposed to
It just
embolden
doesn't
them.
surprise me anymore. Like, I've seen him be moronic this entire time, so it's like
Yeah.
none of it surprises me. Like, why am I surprised by any of this? None of it. Like, anybody that's just now catching on.
But should he be
Everybody
president
else
is
should
the
be
real
looking-
question.
Anybody that's just now catching on, everybody else should be looking at that person and being like, you're just now catching on? Like, you're part of the problem then.
And that's what my example about the people themselves will not take arms and take this president off the throne because some of us
But he
voted
hasn't-
for him.
But there's definitely a difference between like the type of person, the type of state that we're in right now versus someone who's truly dictatorial. Like, there's truly areas where people are being imprisoned and held against their will en masse.
That's the problem with this.
We're not there yet.
That's the problem with this, though.
What's that?
That's the problem, is that when things are really bad, that's when we act. We don't act when things are a couple hundred of us died from drinking Lysol and UV light. A couple hundred of us died because the president didn't act soon enough.
I think we start to act when it affects us, like, for the most part. So for some people, it affects their consciousness right away. Like, they hear about it and they want to change something. For other people, they need it at their front door. They need the military knocking on their door for something, and then they're like, it's here.
Exactly.
Our problem's here. We got to fix it now. But like,
that's what I mean about the people will not stand. The people will not defend themselves in front of this because they believe in the establishment.
I think they will now, because now what the front door is for us has changed. Before, the front door for, like, say back in like 1940s or 1930s or younger, it was them showing up at your door or in your town with a military force. But even by then, a lot of people own homes, so they can't just pack up their stuff and leave. We live in a time now where we can literally pack up our stuff and get out of town pretty quickly. So that's huge. That being able to, like, see
go
it
where though?
somewhere,
it's the federal government.
Some other states, like, at that point, things move more quickly now. That's my point. So, like, the front door is not just them showing up at your door. The front door is social media. So, like, when someone sees someone else getting violated in a major way, it will create change within the mass. Like, if something happened to a person that was well known within a community, like on social media, like, let's say something happened to The Rock, where Dwayne The Rock Johnson got his family taken advantage somehow by some people regarding the coronavirus, a bunch of people would uprise and get on his back right there. They would like get his back and they would fight the government however they could. Like that would be a huge uprising if something happened to a celebrity or if something happened to somebody that a large group of people cared about. And that doesn't happen when you don't have social media.
Okay.
What happened?
Just shut off. What do you want to be thought, Grant? Why do you want to be thought? Why do you want to be anything that you're not? That's like my biggest.
That's exactly.
Stop.
Yeah. What up?
Authenticity.
Boom. Nailed it.
Authenticity is incredible.
I agree.
I have a high standard for morality. I have a high standard for authenticity. I have a high standard for not being fake. And as soon as you make yourself be something that you're not, clearly you're being fake. And why do you want to call yourself something different than who you are and who was the name that was given to you, and then build upon that rather than try to tell yourself that you're something else now?
You nailed it, dude. You nailed it in the sense that the reason why I am changing my name is because I've identified what is my most authentic nature. I know myself, and by knowing myself, I know that I am both nothing and everything simultaneously. I am all. I am being.
All right, let me stop you right there.
So if you want to get a proper explanation, that's how I have to express it, and it is the ideology of my philosophy. So if you can't appreciate a concept that explains that, then I don't know where you want to go from
I don't
there.
understand that. When you say you know yourself, I don't think anybody knows themselves. You know why?
Most people don't.
You don't. Nobody does.
I do because I am.
No, you don't. Let me explain why. Because you say you're going to go and do this, and then you stop doing it. You say you're going to go and not do this, and then you do it anyways. The version of you saying you know yourself, but yet still contradicting yourself in the future goes to show that you don't know yourself, and not knowing yourself is part of living. It's part of being human.
You're absolutely correct.
Making mistakes is a huge part of growing.
Yeah.
To say that you know yourself is to say that you already accepted that you will make mistakes in the future, and that's okay. And I guess I'm explaining what you already believe, because I believe you should never say you know yourself, because you already make mistakes in the future and you can't perceive the mistakes you're going to make. And because you can't perceive the mistakes you're going to make, you cannot know yourself. So if the proper circumstances are in place, you could do something you would never have thought you would ever do, but yet you would do it for the sakes that you're the circumstances you're being faced with.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know yourself. If you're any semblance of human, you don't know yourself, and that's okay. Knowing yourself is the process of learning more about yourself. It's the process of growing, not the process of deciding that you know yourself and then going on through life knowing that everything you do is perfect. Everything you do.
You're right in the sense that if you don't know yourself, then that's life, because that's exactly true. This is what you said right now. If you don't know yourself, that's life. Not knowing yourself is a part of life. And I agree with that, because the part that is truly you exists outside of life. Life and death are concepts that come forth from you. You are not a part of them. So what the parts that you are defining yourself right now as Mario are parts of life and death. They're parts that come from you. So in the same way, when you're looking at your environment right now, you're defining yourself by parts that come from you, but that are not truly you. The you that is you, that actually manifests you and creates you and is you, is undefinable. It's unknowable. It's unreachable because it's everywhere. And it's all the things that exist at the exact same moment, and it's before time. Time and life and death come forth from you.
So you say
So
met that person and
No,
you are that
no.
person now.
I didn't meet that person, because to meet that person is what we're doing right now. That's life. To meet yourself is to observe yourself and experience and interact with yourself. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to grow in ourselves. But the most conflated, or the most accurate, if that even is the correct term, way to describe yourself or myself is undefinable. You can't define it. So any term I use to define me is, I would say, not even accurate. So if I define myself as male, female, a shirt, a tablecloth, angry, sad, happy, Grant, hungry, tired, sleepy, these are all characteristics of expression. These are all ways in which you see yourself, but they are not you. In the same way, like when you experience and go hang out in a field of grass, you can touch the grass, you can see the grass, you can smell the grass, you can play in the grass.
Okay,
but that
you're
is
going
not
off.
the grass. The grass is not what you experience it to be. The grass is something deeper. And in the same way, you are not what you experience yourself to be. You are something more than what you are.
Well,
You are something, Mario. The Mario that is you is something that comes forth from the real you. So in any given moment, you get to define how you want to portray yourself. If you want to define yourself as Mario Martinez, you're continuing in an image that you've manifested for yourself, and you can continue in that image as long as you want. Now, if I could go by any name, because this is just going back to the original topic that we brought up at the very beginning, which is if I could go by any name, I would be nameless. I would not identify myself as any name. I've already started the practice in trying to not remember my birthday, because I'm no longer want to celebrate my birthday either, because I don't want to identify with an age. I don't want to identify with circling around a sun on a planet and have that define a key characteristic of who I am. That's not how I want to express myself. And that's how someone else can express themselves, and that's fine, but that's not how I want to do it.
It
And
sounds like you want to disillusion yourself.
No, I want to
Disillusion
redefine
yourself.
myself.
Exactly.
And
you
by
wanna,
redefining, I want to really undefine myself. And that is how you get to a deeper comprehension of what you could be.
you made that up. You don't know that.
Absolutely, I made it up.
Yeah, you
I made
made
it up
that up.
because it is me.
No, it isn't, because you don't know that. Because the version of you is after life, is after this experience. This whole experience, how I see the future and how I disagree with what you believe in, is because the human experience needs to be folly. Like, it needs to have errors in it. It needs to be filled
what is an error?
with
You're talking about a
errors. Is
perception.
not knowing yourself, is not knowing what's going to happen next, not knowing what you're going to say next, what I'm going to say next, and working off of it once it happens genuinely. Not trying to perceive yourself to know everything and perceive everything and know yourself to the point where, like, you're not learning anymore. You're letting yourself experience everything and letting that dictate who you are. Because if you know yourself, you're letting everything else define you. And if you let everything else define you, you don't know what kind of actions you should take when you're faced with evil.
Wait, you said if you know yourself, you're letting other things define you?
Yeah.
How is that accurate? It would be the opposite. Right now, you're letting Mario Martinez define you. You're letting your parents define you. You're letting your food and your drink and your haircut and your shirt define you. How is knowing yourself helping you to define you?
Knowing?
You said that you lose control of defining yourself when you know yourself.
Yeah, I think you do, because you put yourself in such a high pedestal. You put yourself in such a high position of, hey, I'm not this human being that people used to call me. I am beyond that. I am the omega and the alpha,
So
whatever.
Isn't that more control of how to define yourself?
No.
What?
No, because you just defined it yourself.
Exactly. That's more control. If I have more control, I'm in control of defining it.
No, because you're still human. You're still human. You're trying to escape the human element about humanity.
No,
and
I'm
I
not.
cherish.
We were just talking about defining. You're skipping subjects now. You said that by knowing yourself, you have less ability to define yourself. How's that
okay,
true?
okay. You're getting hanged up.
Well, what are you trying to say?
Okay,
then,
okay,
I guess,
okay.
'cause
Let
you
me
didn't say it right
rephrase
then.
that. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
You pick bits and pieces, and you break those down to
Well, I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say.
diminish
But if you
what
don't use the right
the
words,
person
how can I understand what you're trying to say?
diminish the person's argument,
Not at all.
because that is a very accurate statement. Maybe I did say that wrong. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I
Okay.
do know that if you define yourself and you change your name and you call yourself the all-knowing, or you're aware of who you are after this,
Sure.
because now you're some thought and fucking whatever, I don't agree with that. I completely don't agree with that, and I'm boggled by the fact that you even are trying to attempt to become something rather than what you are already. What is wrong with being Grant anymore?
That Grant is me, just in the same way that a table is me, and that you are me. What
That
you're
is
not
not an
understanding
accurate
is
representation of who you are, though. The table is not you. It's this table. It's my fucking table. I paid money for this fucking table. This better not be you.
What you're not understanding is that the perception, my deepest observation and awareness of what I am has changed as I've gotten older, and it changes for everybody, and it changes depending upon what you appreciate about yourself and how you define yourself. So certain people, maybe they stop at their body. Maybe they say, okay, my figure is me. And they say, okay, the way I look and the way I eat and the way I, their physical form looks, they say that is who they are. And maybe they're okay with changing their name. And then other people, maybe they'll change their clothes and they'll say,
okay, you're going on a tangent.
No, this is all important. So maybe they'll change their clothes, and they say their clothes are me. And then other people, they change their job. They get a new job, and they go and they become a nurse, and a nurse that begins to define them. And there's all these things that you can pick and choose throughout your life: your eating habits, your lifestyle, the person you marry, your kids,
Okay, we get that.
No, you don't get it. Hold on, be paused. You're being impatient because you want to just talk and you don't really want to listen.
I don't understand where you're going with that. It's part of being human.
Be patient and you'll understand. So there's all these little things that you can pick and you can choose and you can identify as yourself, because this discussion is around what we're talking about is around how come you're not being authentic, or how come you are choosing to define yourself as something else than what you are. And I'm saying the way in which you are defining yourself as what you are is dependent upon how you view yourself. You get to choose how you define yourself. So right now, I see you differently than you see yourself. Someone can look in on the outside and see all the things that you have and the way that you wear your shirt and the way that you create videos and whatever, and they could call you this and that and this and that. They could call you a good person. They could call you a musician. They could call you a videographer. Or they could call you a Hispanic. They could call you a male. Are these the things that define you? Does your name define Mario? Does your podcast define you? Does your weight define you? Does your ethnicity?
Yes.
They do, but do they define the entirety of you? Do they?
Nothing will.
Without them, do you still exist? What defines the deepest part of you? So if you took your name away, would Mario still be there? If I took away all your stuff, is Mario there? Is the thing that's behind the name still there? If I shave your body and you have no hair, are you still there? You're still there. At what point do you become not you? If you cut off your hand, is that hand you, or is the rest of you you? How many body?
Okay,
what
so
what if you're just a torso?
Now you're confused.
No, what I'm saying is that you get to define you. Your name doesn't define you. Your lifestyle doesn't define you. Your gender doesn't define you. You at your core are not Mario Martinez. You are undefinable. Okay, and in every moment you get to define yourself, and with your name or your life and every breath and every word you say, you're defining yourself. So in that way, I changed my name because if I could, I would be nameless. I would be unidentifiable. I would be unmeasurable in that specific way. But because we live in a society where people want a license ID card so you can go
What's
and,
so
and
wrong
rent.
with being defined, though? If that really
Because-
is the definition of who I am, the clothes I wear, the table I hold, the things I have around me, is that really defining me? Or is it just your perception of me now?
Right.
Because who I am is who I am. And I, myself, cannot define who I am. I can speak as I have a high moral standard, or I believe in authenticity, and all. I can claim all these things, but I don't have to follow them, because humans
Did you
are
just contradict
always,
yourself?
Yeah, I could totally contradict myself, because that's part of being human.
Okay.
The thing is that you, yourself, are trying to be something that's greater than you.
I'm just trying to define and not define myself in any way I please. I get to create my own reality. That's the beauty of this. No one gets to create this for you. You just now said that you don't define anything, and that's simply not true. And when with the same stroke you said I get to choose this and that and this and that, which means you are defining. So in the and then you said you get to be contradictory. Okay, well, I mean, it's hard to have an argument or discussion, I should say, with someone about someone who you're picking both sides. You're saying with one breath that you define yourself, and then you're saying with the other breath that you don't define yourself. So I agree in some regards. It's kind of like free will versus determinism. Some things, it's like 50-50. Some things you get to define about yourself, and some things you don't get to define. You don't get to define the fact that you live on Earth. You're here, unless you just don't get to choose that. But you do get to choose what shirt you wore today, and that defines you. You do get to choose how you wear your hairstyle, at least here in good old California, and that defines you. You get to choose the way you talk. That defines you.
You keep pointing out obvious things, and I think you are distorting the reality of perception. I think you're distorting what I think is the part of human condition. It's just a part of the human condition is to be contradictory. Is to believe one thing and then the next day you believe the opposite of that.
Sure.
We are often, more often than not, changing our own core beliefs rather than enforcing them. And
I don't know if that's true. I mean, maybe that's true for you. I feel like a lot of people have pretty solid core beliefs and they don't move from them. I think I think it's the opposite. I feel like most people change their outer beliefs, their day-to-day stuff.
The thing is that you don't know that. You have
I can see that. I can see that from my daily experiences, from the majority of people that I've interacted in my life. For sure, like 90% or higher have not changed their core beliefs. It takes a very unique individual to change their whole dynamic of their core belief. And the time that I've met you, you haven't changed your core belief. It's family for you. Family comes first. Even though we're over here in California, like I know family comes first for you. That's your core belief. You've never changed that. Certain people don't change their core beliefs. And that's the majority of people.
100% disagree with that. You know why?
Why?
Because I don't even know my core beliefs. I have an idea of what they are. I know I don't want to harm someone. I don't want to kill anyone. I don't want to do all those things. But like I said again, the unfortunate circumstances can be faced on to you, and then you need to make a decision between being that evil or not. And some people do take that evil for the sake of not dying.
Well, that means you don't have any core beliefs then. That doesn't mean that you change them.
Okay, if that's the case, then no one has core beliefs.
I mean, most people have. I would disagree. Most people have a core belief of something, and they won't change.
They do.
That's probably
I
true
do believe that people do believe that they have core beliefs that they would never break.
Right.
But
that's what makes that movie so good. Is the one? What was it? The Experimenter.
Oh yeah.
It makes it interesting to see what.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
What people will push themselves to.
They know it's wrong, and yet they still kept buzzing this person with high voltage, deadly voltages, and because there was someone behind them with some level of authority, they had to keep going because they didn't have the will and the ethics to stop themselves and stop everyone around them to save a life. It's hard when you're not in the face of somebody literally dying. If you see somebody Well, that's
I
a
don't think
hard
that's
one
true
too.
either.
Yeah.
A lot of people just leave those people alone. Like,
And
it's
leave
just
them
not
alone.
a lot
They're
of people.
just if somebody's getting shot, you won't go and rush that person and save that person. You will run away. You know what I mean? Like,
And call
holy
the police.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna run away. Yeah, I honestly would say that I would run away. I was like, that guy has a gun. What am I gonna tackle him? So that when you hear somebody that's ballsy enough to go after like a freaking mass killer or somebody on the street with a gun, it's like,
Right.
respect, homie. You just tackled
It's
that
like a
dude.
real hero.
It's like, yeah, to have that concept of like, I'm gonna stop this person. This person's doing evil.
Yeah.
I need to stop them. And that's the crazy dynamic about humans, is that sometimes we can do some evil shit, dude. Sometimes it's evil shit. And then sometimes we could do some incredible shit where like we stop the evil, like we become that hero. And they're few and far between, you know. They're very rare. But when you do get to witness that, it empowers you. You get a new sense, a new I guess light of humanity, you know, like a positive view of humanity, because those exist too, you know. I'm not saying that everybody's cynical, but most people are. Most people are more concerned about their own safety, their own family safety, their own friend's safety, rather than some stranger around the corner, you know. Like, I don't know you, why should I save you, you know? Like, I need to go watch for my kids and my wife and my parents. Those are the ones that matter. Everybody else, fuck you, you know. And the humanity is just a creep. I think the issue I have with you and changing your name, or trying to change your name, is I known you for 8 years. And I know who you are now. I have a pretty good idea who you are.
It's funny that you think you know me, but yet you say I don't know me. What is
I
that
don't-
about?
I don't think I know you in totality, like you claim to know yourself. I think I know you. I
You're
guess
saying
I
you know my
don't want to
tendencies.
change who you are. I don't want to hear a new version of you. I don't want to. I don't want you to edit yourself. If you edit yourself, you're like, oh, that's not the Grant I remember.
What do you mean
You're
by
not
edit yourself?
Like, if you change your name, that's an edit. You edited
Well, hopefully
yourself.
you're editing yourself every day, Mario. Hopefully you're constantly
No.
in a situation where you get
Edit
to change
your actions.
Exactly.
Yes.
Change
Edit-
your actions every day, Mario.
Edit
Why
your
are you
actions.
trying to be your yesterday
Why
version?
Why do you wanna be this new person that's being called something different?
Because
Why
in every
is the
moment
name
I'm
so
changing.
important?
Every moment it's not important. It's not important. Did you remember when I said I would rather be nameless? But the fact that I choose this name is because it's a name that I identify more
I
than the
should
name
be
I
able
already
to
have.
call you whatever I please. Then
And you do, dude. You call me Ski and frozen yogurt, Froyo, and you call me all this other shit. You go. So it's
Yeah.
like you already do that shit, dude. And everybody has done that throughout their entire life. People come up with nicknames for people. Honey Bumpkin. People call me,
that's different.
you know, Ski.
That's different.
And like there's different names for nicknames that you have in high school or whatever. It's like, yeah, because none of it's real. These names aren't real. They're just things that you identify with in a period of time. If you're really an awesome running backer, maybe people called you Speedy McSpeedy, and every time in the hallway they'd be
Okay.
like, "What's up, Speed?" And that was
You're
your
going
nickname.
some tangents.
No, I'm saying you trying to define yourself by anything is
You trying to define yourself how you want to be defined.
Okay, absolutely. So yeah, you said in an earlier phrase, you said, "Why do you want to undefine yourself, or why do you want to?" What was it? You like? What did you say? You said, "Why do you want to define yourself less and less?" I think that's what you said. And the reason for that is I want to define myself less and less because you are like a cup that is full. And the more you define yourself, the more you add to yourself, you actually learn less because you have so much. And when you have so much, you got to empty it all out before you can be filled up again and you can learn from that new information that's coming into your life. So when you get to a certain point where you have a lot of information or you defined yourself in a lot of way, I think it is wise to go through the process of flushing yourself. And that's why I smoke weed. That's why people work out. That's why people take up an art craft or go whatever. It's like you do these things because you got to remind yourself that you're not just this, you're not just that. You're refreshing yourself and putting yourself in another state of mind, which gives you the ability to renew yourself and recreate yourself. So in any given moment, I think when you can practice the art of emptying yourself and practice the art of giving all the things up that you think define you as you, then you get the chance to redefine yourself in that moment. You can say, you can take a fresh breath of air and say, okay, how do I want to see myself? How do I want to act? I don't have to act the way I just acted. I can act completely different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And some people might look at that and be like,
name.
oh, you're wishy-washy. No, I'm alive. I'm living, and I'm defining myself in each given moment. And so it's interesting because like it's difficult to live that way all the way because humans like a sense of regularity and like a sense of routine also. So you end up kind of finding a balance. Most people do, because you end up living a life where you are a certain way most of the time, and then weekends or vacation or depending upon your personality, you're going to change the way you live. You're going to change your habits. You're going to do something else. And that is a part of what changes you and motivates you and influences you and helps you to evolve as a person. And so by me just changing my name, it's a self-catalyst. It's a self-manifested catalyst where I am creating change in my life. And anybody can do this on any given moment. It has nothing to do with your name. You can change your daily lifestyle. You can change the way you wake up. You can change the way you think about yourself, one of the biggest things. And so for me, the name is not even a big thing at all. It's something I think maybe it's for people who are like of lineage, or if they're more focused on their family in the sense of like name. I don't know, like name doesn't mean anything to me. So for some people it might mean a lot, you know. For me it is a additive. It's an addition to who I am. It in no way really defines me. So that's why I wouldn't want to be defined by my name at all. I really don't want a name. The same way I don't want an age. I don't want to be defined by my birthday.
If you really think that, then you wouldn't choose a name.
But you can't, though. You can't just have no name.
If you really don't want a name, then you would just leave the name that was given to you.
That's what you would do, though. That's not what I would do. I'm different. I have a different personality. And the reason why I'm changing it is because
of not having a name. You want to be called a certain type of name.
If I'm going to be called, if I'm going to be defined, then I'll choose the way I'm defined, I guess, if that makes sense. So
that
if I could,
no sense.
Okay, it's like you have to eat, because if you don't eat, Mara, you die. But because you eat, because you are forced to eat, you get to choose what to eat, and you do choose what you eat. And so in that way, I have to have a name to live in our society. It's a great analogy.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't, because people don't get to choose what kind of food to give you.
What?
People don't get to choose what kind of food to give you.
That's exactly my point. I'm saying you have to eat. You get to choose what to eat, though.
Yeah,
you have to have a name.
Yeah.
You'd get to choose what you want as a name, too.
Yeah, but you want people to give you a certain type of food, which is the thought or whatever the name you want to be called.
Same thing. You want people to give you a certain type of food, right?
No, not in terms of names.
Yeah, we're talking about
if
food.
I'm exchanging money for the food I get, yes, I want the certain type of food I want. If you're going to give me money to call you a certain name, yeah, I'll call you that. But because you're not paying me, there's no equal exchange. It has nothing to do
with you.
It does have something to do with me, because now I'm being forced to remember this name rather than your old name.
You're not being forced at all. I don't care what you call me, Mario. That's what I'm saying. I'm if you want my attention, in the sense of like, if I'm across the room, if you say Thoth or Grant or Hey You, and we're the only two people,
or Grant, I'm gonna say Grant every time.
Froyo,
trust me.
or whatever, there's a good chance I'll look, because we're the only two people. But if we're out in a club, or we're out and a field throwing the baseball, or I don't know.
We're out in the lake.
I was preparing my body
levitating
in
above
various ways. No, like whatever we're doing,
throwing a frisbee around.
If you call them,
doing our taxes,
a name is just an identifier to help you call somebody or get their attention. So Yeah, it has nothing to do with you. If you're making it about you, then you're definitely off the mark.
Yeah, I am making it out of me because it's kind of
the way I define myself has nothing to do with you at all.
When you change your name, it's kind of like those people that don't want to be referred as a male or a female. You ever heard of them?
But I'm not caring how you want to refer me. The difference is this has nothing to do with you. You can call me Flower Pot for all I care. I don't care what the fuck you call me, Mario.
No, but you do. You do care though.
Not at all, dude.
Because you want to be called a certain name.
No, I want to be addressed on your podcast a certain way because that is going out into the environment where people are going to see me and my actual name because I'm changing my name to this, so it's my actual name. So if you're addressing, again, this is for the name is for the public. It's for when people are seeing me as a professional entity or as an entity that they're seeing on some podcast.
Okay. Well,
so if you wanted to
I
just
know
leave
I'm
it
not going to change your mind. So why did you choose Thoth? And it's not even Thoth. It's Thoth. It's Thoth.
No, it's Thoth.
It's Thoth.
So, yeah, it's Thoth. Look on my t-shirt,
Which is
dude.
Thoth.
It's Thoth. So if you didn't know, look right now, dude. It's been here the whole time. You didn't even know it.
He put on that shirt
so
specifically. Show it to the camera, dummy.
I didn't even put on the shirt on purpose.
This one.
Oh, yeah. This is for you, Mario. This is the kids version, so you get it. This is how far. You know when I bought this shirt? You know when I had this shirt made? 2017, dude. That's almost 3 years that you've known that this was coming. So you have nothing to be surprised about or like taken back that this was gonna happen. You knew.
But
this was coming.
it thought it was your rapper name. You had said that there was gonna be your rapper name because you're gonna become a rapper. But now you're kind of like shifting to being some type of philosopher or something, right?
No, it's all interrelated, and my second album's about to drop.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, November 28th.
How's that going?
It's going good. The album's actually done, so I gotta do some like little final masters.
Why do we need to wait until November?
Because I'm releasing the book June 22nd. So the book comes out first, and then I'm gonna wait a period of time to give the book time to breathe, and so I can actually go out and sell. Go to bookstores. Hopefully by like August, bookstores will have starting to open back up, and then also I wanted to wait till November because I want to do a live show for this second album. So if I'm gonna do a live show, hopefully I'll have something to be able to work with. I don't know. We'll see. Might have to postpone the live show and just release it, but the album will be out on November 28th. Hopefully I can do a live release.
When's
album and a book.
When's the book coming out?
Book June 22nd.
22nd.
June 22nd.
And you're gonna self-publish?
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna self-publish. Get it
On
printed
what?
up.
I don't even know what the process is. I know you can do it on Amazon. Just fucking.
Amazon might have the cheapest. I gotta look it up because, it depends how many people. Like most likely, I'm probably just gonna do like one of those services. I gotta see which one's gonna be the best deal, best quality. But yeah, Amazon has one where essentially, I mean, just like you format the book, and then you give them all the information as far as like cover thickness, cover style, and then you give them all the graphics, and then you give them the book loadout, and then they just print it. Like boom, it's awesome. It's like that's the way to do it. So yeah, then you'll be able to read my theory and.
You gotta make an audiobook. There's no way I'm gonna sit down and read it.
Yeah, I'm doing an audiobook, dude. You'll get it.
Yeah, because that's the only way. Once I'm driving to work or coming from work or doing stuff,
it's definitely gonna help to read it.
I'll listen to it, but I'm not gonna read that shit.
You're gonna have to read it.
I have a very short attention span when it comes to reading. I'm realizing that more and more.
I wonder if you'll be able to get it though, in the sense that like there's a lot of.
I already disagree with it, and I've told you this many times already.
There's a lot of big words in there, not like big words, but like the word, like you get hung up on the word dimensional.
Yeah.
So like if you get hung up on dimensional, then
yeah. And you use certain words that don't actually mean what we common folks think it means.
That's true. Sometimes I do redefine
words.
I try not to like redefine it entirely, but like in order to get a better description of what that word means in that context, because some words mean different things in different contexts. So I do try to make sure I define it in the way that I mean for that context.
Like I want to explain. I'm gonna explain my version of it, and then you can add the details in. This whole concept of this book started out by him watching like a 10 or 11-minute video about 11 dimensions. And this video, I'm going to put it up on my website, maybe. I don't know if the video actually exists still, but is this guy trying to simplify what 11 dimensions are. And he said that the first dimension is like a dot, and then the second dimension is like a string connected to these two dots, and then so on and so forth, to the point where it gets to 11 dimensions, which is like a curvature in space or something like that. I don't fully understand it because I don't understand the whole concept of 11 dimensions. But then Grant saw this and he said, like, this is completely wrong. I don't agree with any of this, and I'm going to write a book about it. And I'm going to explain exactly what dimensions are. And he made this whole freaking book, obviously, about these dimensions that you have now implemented in your whole life. that video, the 10-minute video, changed your life definitively.
Almost 60% of the things you said were grossly incorrect.
Okay.
But
Add the details.
I appreciate your ideas. No, I mean, yeah, I've seen that video, but that video really didn't influence me to write this book at all. I mean, it was an interesting video, but no, definitely the Kabbalion was probably one of the biggest influences. That is a
the
book
Kabbalion has no scientific concepts of dimensions in it.
Well, it begins the process of understanding what you are. And that's really what this book is about. This book is about you figuring out you. It's really about
it's
you
all
knowing
about dimensions, though.
It's true. It's about one dimension, and it's about all dimensions, which are one. And it's about you knowing yourself.
There's more than one dimension, but they're all that one dimension. So it's all one dimension.
That's the powerful part. Yeah, that's the dynamic understanding of reality. But yeah, Kabbalion was definitely one book that influenced it a lot. And then my own desire to understand how gravity works. So like that was huge because like ever since I was probably like 16 or 17, I've been like coming up with ideas of how gravity works, how time interacts or interpolates or, essentially extends forth from itself. So gravity, Kabbalion definitely was huge. What was the other one? Oh, and I think looking at the dimensions of length, width, and height, the first three dimensions are what bothered me. So it wasn't necessarily that whole video. That whole video was cool and actually begin part of the book talking about the way in which science currently views dimensionality. But really the ones that are the most interesting to look at are the first three, or the ones that we are most familiar with, which are like length, width, and height. And some include time, or space-time is 4. But none of those are real specific. They're all just kind of ambiguous dimensions, length, width, and height. And so for me, what frustrated me or what I didn't understand is what comes first. If we have 3 dimensions, what's the first dimension? Because if you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 of something, then there has to be a ground floor, or there has to be a first dimension from which these dimensions are stacking on top of each other, like, or in, out, or wherever. It's like there's got to be a beginning point for dimensionality. So what is the first dimension? That's really taking that with the Kabbalion and the what was the other thing I said? Understanding gravity. It's like all those things work together, pushing me towards, okay, how do I see the world? How do I understand my universe, my reality? And then as I sought out those different ideas, then led to
you did this all independently?
Yeah, it's pretty much me just
you in your room?
Late night, yeah.
Just talking yourself in the mirror? It's like, yes, one dimension is this undefinable. Yes, it is. Oh, wow. I'm so right.
Putting on lipstick? Yes.
Yes.
Susie,
writing in the walls
told me
and
stuff.
One dimension.
you burst into the bathroom. Grant, what are you doing?
It's all one
Everything
dimension.
is one. Everything is one. Just circling. One dimension. One dimension.
Oh
You're like,
my
all right,
God.
Grant, let's go to bed.
Oh, that's too good, dude. Well,
It's funny.
I do hope the best for you, brother. I mean, I never hope for the something negative happening to you, because I mean, I hope the best for everybody. I mean,
Because I pay rent.
yeah, you need to fucking pay rent. That's for sure. I'm not gonna be paying that motherfucker.
Nope.
But
yeah,
it's
so that's
just-
why I
it-
define
it-
myself that way.
it's just I guess I can't wrap my head around that, and I can't wrap my head around pretending to know that's definitively true, and it would be probably because I never studied it, and I don't intend to study, and I really don't find that much enjoyment besides watching documentaries about it, because I feel like there has been people that have been in the industry and have been trying to figure out what these everything is made of, I guess, because we are made of tiny little things that once you get to a certain level, you can't break them down any further where we can actually see anything else, you know? And because you can't break them down any further, then what the fuck are we made of? Are we really made of these tiny, tiny little things? And they exist in some type of realm where gravity is a force that keeps them together, but if it hits a certain velocity with another thing, it breaks apart and it's something new. And then thermodynamics, where energy can never be destroyed, it can only be transferred. All of this stuff, I find it to be true, but I don't know that I could come up with something. I don't believe I can come up with something that can definitively say that it is incorrect and this is the proper way of perceiving that, and it feels that you are claiming to have the proper way, and that's my biggest issue with it, because I don't believe, and I've known you the entire time since we got out of college for film and video production. You were originally going to become a video editor, and then you shifted from that to, I guess, music, or you wanted to do acting for a little bit, but you didn't really pursue that. And then after that, you kind of got into rap, and you went 100% on that, and you did your first album, right? And then after that, now you've dived into...
Well, I've finished my second album, just waiting on release. And then also a book, finishing up my book now.
Yeah, but you haven't done any, like, shows where, like, you're the headliner.
No, I'm just getting started, dude.
Yeah, well, like, the thing is that people that are doing shows and headlining are just getting started. You haven't even done that, you know, like, not to diminish you.
Why does that matter where I'm at in my process of growth?
I mean, it just goes to show a lot of your shifting around, and it's not that
That's not shifting around. I'm still planning on acting, and I'm in entertainment. I think the one thing I really shifted was video editing. It's like what you consistently do is what defines you. And so
you're gonna be
I'm consistently writing music and.
What do you want to be?
And writing right now.
Are you gonna be a writer or
entertainer? I'm going to write all my life. I'm going to create music all my life. And once I get into acting, I'll act all my life. That's what I want to do. And then I also want to travel and, like, speak to people. Like, not lecture, but have discussions. I want to travel the world and have discussions with scientific, intellectual,
How much time do you really think you
people.
have to do all that?
As much time as I need, man. I'm infinite.
I'm infinite, he said. I'm infinite. Just look at me.
I'm infinite, man.
I need substance, but I'm infinite.
I am substance.
I feel like I picked him up from, like, the street and I put him onto this podcast. And
after this, I can get that cheese you said, right? You said I was gonna get some cheese and some bread, and like a 40 of Schlitz.
Blaze.
Come on, brother.
Or show up like...
You said you were going to feed me.
Dave Chappelle's like, is this the free crack?
That's why I get the free crack?
Is this the free crack special? Oh, shit. That's too good, dude. Yeah, man.
Science.
But it...
Dude, wait. But think about that show that we were just watching. The... what is it?
The experiment?
Experimenter. Yeah, that is
Experimenter.
kind of a good analogy for what I would say.
Four.
Life is.
It's
Oh my
so
God!
cool. Oh my
Life.
God. Yeah.
That's a great analogy for. I would say the way that most people live their lives, in the sense that a lot of people, like what you said, aren't leaders. I think a part of not being a leader is accepting what knowledge or what definitions already are. You know, like the whole, what you said, like if someone comes to power who's super strong, like the difference between being a follower and a leader, I think the followers are the people who don't look at themselves and their environment and say, wait, how is this right? Is this right? Is this what I want it to be? And if it is, then they let it be, or they, you know, if it's not, then they change it. So that is how I'm also saying I'd like to live my life, is I'm looking at something and I'm saying, okay, is this me? Is this not me? I try to do it on a daily basis or a weekly basis or monthly. It's like we take these moments to check ourselves and to say, is this me? Is this who I want to be? Is this how I want to define myself? And if not, then you get the choice, you get the chance, and thankfully we have the liberty and the ability and the freedom to make those changes and to recreate and create ourselves in every moment. So if anything, changing your name, for me, it's like it should be a celebration. You should be able to change something in your life and it should be a celebration, because people look at you and be like, wow, he's a leader. He's a chooser. He is not a follower of what other people say. He's making his own path. He's becoming his own person, dude. It's kind of like a rite of manhood or adulthood. Think about the tribes back in the day. When you became a man, you would do an event. You would go and walk on coals or jump into a pond and let crabs eat your dick or something like that. And then when you got out, you would all get high around a pipe and you would change your name. Like the chief or whatever would be like, now your name is Chief Captain Walker or whatever. Or now your name is Bubblegum. And then he was now Tonto Bubblegum the rest of his life. And it's like that moment where the chief tests you and sees if you're a man and then changes your name. Like, that's how I see this. Like, it's like life has tested me in certain regards, and I have met challenges and I've changed myself and become new in many different ways. And I've hit such a big milestone for me for coming to the comprehension of my own awareness that I'm like, all right, this is a big moment where I get to redefine myself if I want to. And you don't get those moments too often, I think. Those come, like big moments where you get to really redefine who you are, I think only come maybe a couple times in a lifetime. They come like maybe when you have kids or when you get married, when you do something really big. And so I think this book, this album, and this, really it's a big stepping stone. It's a stepping stone where I'm taking myself out of the realm of who I was as a specific type of individual and into a new realm of who I want to be as a specific type of individual. And what that realm is the realm of entertainment. It really is for me. And the realm of new types of knowledge and new types of wisdom and new types of learning, because I've lived in a specific type of life for these past 30 years. And now I'm making a transition or a leap to a new type of life. It's like butterflies are free to fly. I'm like little caterpillar coming out of a cocoon, ready to do something else. So
Butterflies Are Free to Fly was a revolutionary book for me.
Yeah,
and
you
I've told you that many times. And
I don't even know if I read it all.
I don't think so either.
I think I read like 3/4 of it.
At the
you
end,
come out of a cave, right?
At the end, it says that we don't have any control. And I, for the longest time, not that long, but had a lot of conflict with that, because it speaks about many stories in philosophy and reality and science that we've discovered already. And it speaks to my heart, at least, that at the end it says that we don't have any control. We're like a passenger in our consciousness, our subconscious, I guess, is what we know. it has to be is the one that actually is driving, and that one's the one that dictates where you go and where you stops. And we are the passenger. We can advocate, we can speak to the subconscious and say, hey, could you stop here? I really want to stop there, or I really want to go there instead, or whatever. But the subconscious gets to decide. That's the guy that gets to steer there and stop there and do everything, you know? Then you get to get off, you know? But I had a conflict with it because it gave me no control. It gave me no solutions. And honestly, now that I think back at it, and I realize that over time, is that, yeah, we don't have any control. We don't, life is happening to us. We can only control our reactions. And sometimes even our reactions is not much of our control because we've been bred to think in a certain type of way that if someone does wrong to you and you are used to vengeance, then you will resort to vengeance. If you want to get something and you know how to manipulate, you'll use your manipulation. You'll use whatever you're strong with, and your subconscious gives you that, you know. And I don't know, kind of like going back to your whole name is that I feel like you're trying to tell your subconscious that you are this identity, where the subconscious you don't get to decide what the subconscious gets to do. And on top of that, like the name itself, I don't think you have announced your full name. What's the full name? Could you say it?
Thoth Starlight.
Oh.
Thoth Starlight, yeah. I
Look,
think it's great.
Look,
dude.
and I said this the first time you brought it up. Thought, I'm like, okay. I mean, it's not that crazy. It's thought. It's different. And Starlight, that's where I draw the line. It's okay. Okay, you're pushing it. You don't deserve to go to the Starlight realm. You do not deserve the Starlight realm.
What are you jealous?
Look, if you're gay, if you're you like dudes, then I'll get it. Okay, yeah.
Is it because
he's a Starlight. Just look at him. Come on. But you're not gay.
Why? Yeah. Why?
And then
why
that
is Starlight
goes to
gay
show
for you though? Why does that have to be gay?
Starlight.
Yeah.
Let me say that
words,
again.
Those are just words coming
Let me
out
say
of your
that
mouth.
again.
Why does it have to be? Why do you? Starlight.
Starlight.
Starlight. Say it 100 times until, dude. Say Mr. Starlight.
Like the minute I hear Starlight, I think of pink and rainbows.
Say, all right, now imagine
a unicorn.
Imagine you're James Bond, dude. Imagine you're hanging out. You're suited and booted, right?
Look, you could have chose anything else.
Imagine you pull up to a castle, bro, and you step out of a Bugatti with the most beautiful woman you've ever met, and you're all dressed up in all black.
Is this how you think in your head?
And like you like super suave. Dude.
Every day things that way.
And then you walk up and they hand you a blunt, a lighter, and say, "Good evening, Mr. Starlight. We have a table waiting for you." And then you guys light up as you walk into the building, and then you sit down and you chill at some fancy restaurant.
Look
and watch a movie while you're eating.
If you're really gonna want to paint that picture in my head, the only way I can allow that to even pierce my brain and my imagination is by you rolling up in a real Lamborghini with full white and crystals around your neck and your wrist, like Mr. Starlight. And this chick is just like another level of crystals. Fucking like the candles on her hair and shit. Like, hello, Mr. Starlight. Here you go, your ticket.
For some reason, I have like a disco ball above my head, just like, and I got like the pimp hat with like a feather. And I'm like, yeah,
I'm Mr. Starlight.
Mr. Starlight's in the building, bitch. And I take off my glove and I smack him in the face. Bitch, don't you know who this is? I'm Mr. Starlight.
Mr. Starlight.
You don't know me.
Oh my God.
That's what I want.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm Starlight.
That would make sense. That would make it made me cry. Oh my God. Oh,
Nailed it.
but it's just so funny you chose Starlight. Dude, you could have chosen anything else. You could even chosen
What about you,
fucking
dude? What would you?
007, like
Right.
fucking Agent 1.
Dude, that's what's so
Fucking
funny when you see
killer.
like Dane Cook and Louis C.K. It's like you can name your kid 40 Fs. You just be like, you just- get in here. Like
Yeah, I remember
it's
that.
so funny, dude.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Like you can just name your kid anything. Like
You
people got the
can.
craziest names.
You can.
Why
I
not
mean,
me, dude?
I
I
guess
just get
it
to
makes
choose it.
sense that you should be allowed to change your name in the future. I mean,
It's just the sound coming out of your mouth. What would if you would like? Obviously, you've kind of made it clear. It seems like you would never want to change your name. You
I
have like
thought of
4
my
of them.
changing my last name. I don't think I would ever change my first name because
Yeah.
what people know me at, I'm cool with. And Mario, this is not a bad name. Like
Yeah.
if I was
You like
named
your
like
name.
dipshit or fucking something stupid that my parents were just psychotic, then like especially I know some people never met this
There's
person.
someone like named like Trash or something. I heard like there's people who are like
Yeah,
named like some
bro.
weird names. And you're
I
like,
mean,
"Oh,
you ever
that's
heard
sad."
somebody's name is Dick?
Yeah.
Hey there, Dick.
But
How you
usually it's
doing?
like Richard, and
What?
people just call him Dick. Like Dick
Richard.
Dick is a name for Richard for some reason. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that. How you
It's a
doing,
nickname.
Dick?
Yeah, Dick.
Like if
usually
my
means their
parents
name's
actually
Richard.
called me Dick, though, I would definitely change it. I'd be like, nah, I ain't gonna be called
Like it
Dick
actually
anymore.
didn't say Richard. It just said
Said
Dick.
Dick.
D-
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know it was it stands for Richard. That's fucking
Dick.
weird.
Yeah, Richard.
Next time I meet a Richard, I'm gonna call him Dick, though.
What's up, Dick?
What's up, Dick? I don't know which. It was a liar that he had a boss. His name was Dick.
Maybe
The movie with Tom
that was a good movie.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
I don't know.
So
I
wait,
don't know.
if you could change your name, then like, because I really want to ask, what would you change your name to? But obviously,
cool.
it seems like you wouldn't because you. So like, if you did change your name, like obviously you like Mario, but if you could change it, what would you change it to? What's the first thing that pops in your head? What's the first name?
I don't have any names.
No. Anything,
No.
Nothing pops in your head.
Well, at one point when I heard the name Dimitri.
Dimitri.
Dimitri sounds cool. It sounds like a
Sounds suave.
secret agent. You know, a secret agent, Mr.
Dimitri.
Dimitri.
It's like it
Come
is.
here.
Is it Spanish or
It's
what is it?
from-
Italian? Dimitri.
It's got to be Italian. When I heard it from Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah.
Mission
yeah.
Impossible. His name was Dimitri, and I was like, Dimitri, you can't do this.
That's good.
Yeah,
I
that
like
sounded cool. But
Yeah,
I
it's like
also
strong
think that
and romantic kind of
Yeah.
at the same time.
yeah, I also think that your name goes to show a little bit about your culture, where you come from. Like I have a sort of Hispanic last name, and then first name is kind of Hispanic too. Martinez. Like, you can obviously tell that it is a Latin descent from Latin culture.
See, that's something different too about us, about like just between you and me specifically. Like, do you care about your culture?
Yeah.
See, I don't feel like I care about my culture. Like that sounds bad, dude. Like to say,
Yeah, you're right.
but it's like I don't like, and it's weird too for white people in that sense because white people, for the most part, like there's the eccentrics, you know, who are like doing KKK shit and like they're like, you know, in a clan or whatever where they have specific ideologies of hate. But for the most part, people of like Caucasian nature, there is no like, we're proud to be white and not in a racist way. Like there is not that group, you know, there's not a nice white power or like, so it kind of is hard to be cultural supportive unless you're like Irish or like somewhere where there's like a holiday or Scottish and you're like, I'm proud to be Scottish and you're white.
Yeah,
or I'm
to
proud
be
to be Irish.
nationalist when you're white.
It's hard, right? Like
It
because I'm
white
like Prussian.
supremacy.
I'm like Prussian, so I'm like Russian and Polish and a
Oh,
little bit
really?
of German. And it's like I don't really want to rep Germany or Polish or Poland or Russia. So it's like I don't really have the desire to rep because I'm like a mutt, and that's okay. But I'm not like really trying to rep a specific region, dude. And that's another reason why I see myself as this undefinable thing because I'm not trying to rep myself and my family like that. It's like or like because I think you're so right. Like when I hear the word Dimitri, like you do feel like it's a strong Italian name or something. And even Mario is like a nice Hispanic name, or
I guess it's
Marta,
actually Spanish.
Spanish name. So it's like there's these names that really fit in well with the culture. And Grant is like, hey, I'm Grant. I'll sell you a newspaper.
Well, Grant.
I'll sell you
Grant's a good
shop.
one though. Grant.
Yeah.
Grandiose.
Like, yeah,
changed
definitely.
it to grandiose instead of Grant, and they can call you Grant for short, but your real name is Grandiose.
That sounds super gay. I'm grandiose.
But Starlight totally isn't gay.
Starlight. It's like I would like again. I would go with no name, but like I don't know. That's
why you could have chosen so much.
What would be a better name with that? Like, I was thinking, if I'm gonna try to define myself by anything, what do I want to define myself?
Neutron star.
Well, it's
or universe, or universe spelled opposite.
Dude, I think I actually did that. I think I actually looked that up. Yeah, I tried to like spell shit backwards.
I know you're trying to go with something galactic or galactic.
Yeah, galactic. Well, that's the thing. Is like I tried a lot of stuff. Dude. I tried thinking about different like last names, but nothing was smooth.
And you ended with Starlight?
Yeah, like Thoth Starlight.
Sounds dumb.
Because each letter, like having 3 names that are all one syllable is kind of strong. It's like bump, like, or it's like
not when it comes to Starlight.
One is the best. No, I'm just saying as far as like getting your an idea out there at all, it just goes in order of simplicity. So like Oprah, 1 syllable, boom. What's another one that's like there's certain people who who's another one that's
it's
like
one syllable.
Clinton.
But
Clinton. Or no, that's 2 syllables.
Starlight is not 1 syllable.
Thought is 1 syllable.
Yeah. I'll let you slide with thought as long as you not take Starlight with you. Like if you're like
that's what it's gonna be. But
Indiana Jones and you're sliding under the door and the hat is Starlight, leave that hat alone. I'll be like, burn that hat, let it get crushed.
Nothing without your hat, bro. You gotta have a hat
and then
and
you
the whip
grab that
and everything.
Yeah, no.
That'd be the whole package.
Fuck, dude. No.
But no, it's nice because they're all 1 syllable. Starlight's 2 syllables, but it sounds like if you were 3 names, Thought, Starlight. So it's like boom, boom, boom. It flows nicely compared to like Thought Galactic. That one's actually not too bad. Galactic. Thought Galactic overpowered. No, I'm just kidding. No, Galactic's not too bad, but it still sounds kind of nerdy, and it's like doesn't have that kick to me that I'm like, all right. And Starlight really is nice for the way in which I view how our universe began and what we really are, because I think all of what we are is compressed light. So it's compressed starlight. We are all stardust.
Yeah,
Starlight.
why didn't you choose Stardust? Stardust is a little more.
That sounds kind of depressing, doesn't it?
What?
Dust.
Dude.
Starlight just sounds uplifting and like upbeat.
No, it doesn't. Sound gay. It sounds very gay.
But gay means happy. When you think of gay, gay literally comes from the word happy.
Not to the straight people, which is the majority of people.
So when you think of Starlight, you think of what?
You're gonna be some fruity ass dude talking about his makeup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see it as feminine, not gay. That's
very
what you're saying. You see it
feminine.
as feminine.
I mean,
okay,
like,
right. That makes sense.
If you're dude, but you're talking about feminine shit, I would guess that you're gay.
I think then that kind of balances out, because I still see it as being somewhat strong, but I can see the feminine aspect that you're saying, and I get that. But Thought is strong in the sense of like rappers have kind of made Thought into a pretty gay thing too, which is a bummer, but whatever, you gotta roll with the punches. But Thought in itself is kind of like a strong name, like it almost sounds like a punch, like Thought. But you know, like an action hero. Thought undercover. I don't know. So I guess there's that, and then so like if Starlight's feminine and Thought's masculine, that's cool in the sense that they kind of balance each other, and I consider myself to be a balanced person. I do, because of my own philosophy too. I feel that you aren't like your deepest core, you're undefinable, but then you also have a polarity inside yourself, which is your logical side and your creative side, your masculine side and your feminine side, your dark and your light. And so in that way, we are this balance. And so to balance a masculine name like Thoth with Starlight, I'm all right with that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're okay with that. I guess you're gonna
So
get
wait.
more shit about it though.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
Dimitri.
gonna. I'm not gonna
That'll
lay
be
off of
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. But your choices are very much your choices, and if that's really what you've decided, and that's the best you can come up with, then I guess that's your limit.
Mm.
No, I'm joking. But dude, I'm glad you were back on the podcast. I know we're on quarantine, so I mean we're just chilling here. Might as well talk about some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for being on again.
Yeah, dude, for sure, man. Thanks for having me.
For sure.
What do you got going on the rest of the day? Dunzo?
Just call it, dude. It's already freaking 5:30, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. All right.
Another one.
Boom. Another one.
Another one.
I gotta take a piss so bad, dude. Oh my god.
You want me to kill any of this? Turn it off?